I'm never going to help you with a script, and I won't show you any gimmicks, but I'll help you refine what works when you're getting to know strangers and you're getting to know how you can serve them. You want to bring clarity, vibrancy, and respect back into your If you want to bring clarity, vibrancy, and respect back into your sales conversations, then this podcast is for you. If you're doing any social media marketing, you've all heard the phrase know, like, and trust. And everyone who's teaching you digital marketing, they're showing you that these are the things that you need to do. Well, this is all great for marketing because it makes your ads work. It makes your posts look interesting. But why are you marketing? You want them to reach out and touch you. But when they do reach out and touch you, what is your next goal? It is not to continue the same processes. It is no longer your goal to have them know, like, and trust you. If you're coming from the world of ads and posts and messaging on Facebook or Instagram or elsewhere, but you find yourself in a situation where you need to have a conversation, then there's a world of difference between marketing and sales. They seem to be aligned. That's because one stimulates the opportunity for the other. Marketing stimulates the opportunity for sales. But marketing is more like the welcome mat to a sales conversation. You can't continue the same practices in order to have a quality conversation. If you carry the know, like, and trust into your sales conversation, guess what? You're going to be talking at your buyer. You will learn nothing about them. And what you're trying to do is to stick your product on them like you might stick a label on a bottle. That's a bit arrogant, don't you think? Just because somebody said something about your product, or they stopped at your booth at a trade show, or they called you from the number on your ad, all that means is they're ready to learn more. Now, this is where you get to stop and go switch hats, marketing to sales. What they're doing by calling you is they're offering you, the seller, an opportunity to get to know them better. It's not an opportunity for you to sell yet. Your first job is to know the buyer. Remember this, know takes on new meaning. Know the buyer. It's not about you. Just because this person said something positive, it doesn't mean they're ready to buy. It doesn't mean they want a monologue from you or a pitch about your product. It means they want a dialogue. So now what do you do to shift into your dialogue? Remember, your goal is to build a sale. Let's talk about what has to happen before that. You have to build a relationship, because when you build a relationship, and I mean a working relationship, not a social relationship, then you're going to bring in less resistance from the buyer at a later time. So let's talk about how we switch things up. Let's remove that phrase, know, like, and trust. That's marketing. Put it over there on the shelf. And let's talk about know, show, and serve, and make some sales. So this is not about how to be clever. It's how to be clear on what attracted the buyer. Well, we want to know the buyer now. We need to be clear about what prompted them to take action. What were they thinking that this might help with? What have they already thought of or tried? Because you want to take away all resistance to anything you might say. Until you know that buyer in front of you, then you have no opportunity to find out if your product is a fit. So you get to back off of getting their attention. You don't need their attention anymore. You have it. So now you're going to be more quiet, insightful, asking open-ended questions to get to know that buyer. Here's an important statistic for you. 54.5% of buyers feel their seller did not understand or discover their core problem. Oops, that's not cool. If you are someone who finds it difficult to find customers, or you find it challenging to find a lot of buyers, then it's critical that you get to know the buyer first. When you discover the core problem, you can beat this percentage of 54.5%. Your goal is to hear what the buyer has to say. You're looking for their feelings, their emotions, their frustrations, their joy. Where is their interest? Why do they want to take a look at this and discover more? Remember, you don't have all the answers. You had a point of view in your marketing message, and you know all your features and benefits, but none of those are going to open the conversation. So, what you're listening for is what features and benefits that you have that the buyer might be referencing in what they're telling you. And now you can go ahead and present the aspects of your product or your service that might work for them. And then you continue the conversation. You don't pitch again. You open the conversation so that they begin to trust your knowledge is solid, that your response to them is solid, that you heard them and responded to the proper thing, not something you wanted to add. And your goal isn't to sell to everyone unless you're selling trinkets, and that you can do out of a catalog. You want to serve the ones who are going to possibly fit your product. Not everybody is going to fit what you have. So, like, I don't help people with marketing. I could, but it's not my art form. And there are multitudes out there already doing that. But there are very few people out there that do sales conversations or are sales conversation architects. We help you frame and tune up your sales conversation so that you're always hearing what the buyer says and managing your conversations according to where the buyer is. It's all about your mindset and your skills. To know the customer means you stop assuming anything about them just because they responded to their ad. Don't assume anything. Stop guessing what they want based on what you'd want. Remember, it's important to get yourself out of the picture. You ask questions that allow them to speak, tell you what's going on. You want the full picture of their desires, their needs, and their stressors. Listen for the clues that help you understand that buyer more and ask more questions. Clarify any assumptions they have about your product, and don't look for that pause in their sentence so that you can throw in something you want to say. It's not about you getting an opportunity to speak. Knowing your buyer comes from using a lot of open-ended questions that open the doors. You just do these simple things. Tell me what's been working for you so far. What brought you here today? What would make this conversation worth your time? Each question hands the buyer the microphone, so to speak. And when they talk, you learn how to pace with them. Some people are fast talkers. Some people are very methodical. All of those indicate their decision-making pace, and you want to make your conversation feel safe for them. When you know that person in front of you, it isn't about collecting any facts about them. It's about decoding what is meaningful for them. Let's say that again. It's about decoding what's meaningful for them. The next step is show. This is where trust begins. You show trustworthiness through your behavior. When you reflect what they said. So what I'm hearing is, very simple phrase to use, or you acknowledge their thought. Oh, that is an important point. Let's look at how this might work for you or be a fit for you. Or does it align with you? And you match their pace of speech and decision making and thoughtfulness, not yours. Every time you show respect to the buyer, you're going to know the buyer, and now you're going to show the buyer. When you do that, something shifts. The buyer starts relaxing. Their guard drops. They start sharing their story, their needs, their desires. Their barriers are down. Let them talk. Use those reflections to get them to say more. And then you're there to serve. You just showed them that you were there for them. You grew their trust, and now you're there to serve them. Service in sales doesn't mean you say yes to everything or pretend your offer fits everyone. To serve a buyer means to stay loyal to what's right for your buyer. Sometimes that means you have to have the grace and the nerve to say, Based on what you've shared with me, I'm not sure this is the right tool for you or the right fit for you or the right service for you. And guess what? That kind of honesty pays off. When you stop chasing the sale and start protecting the buyer's integrity, they will remember you. And you're going to get payback in some way of a referral. The next time they look at something, they'll talk to you first. Serving means asking and clarifying questions to see if the fit is clear for the buyer. You might say things like, how does this align with your priorities right now? What concerns would you need to resolve before moving forward? You ask these questions and there are no objections. Service isn't about closing, it's about clarifying. So if I were to sell a coaching package to someone, I have to understand how much time they will give themselves to implement the new strategies that we work on. If it just looks like they want a magic answer for an hour a week, then that's an inappropriate use of my time and their time because I'm not going to get them anywhere. So I don't take on that client. I had another coach once who was selling too hard. She spent a lot of time talking about her life coaching and how she had the right materials and beautiful slides and great testimonials and solid results. She couldn't close a sale because she was focused on being liked. She wanted people to see her passion, believe in her heart, but she wasn't taking time to know them. And if you want someone to know your passion and your heart, you have to be willing to listen to theirs. When we worked together, we talked about no more presenting, just asking 3 open-ended questions to open all conversations, and her sales doubled. Now, I've said these questions before, but I'll give them to you again. Just in 2 weeks, she doubled her closing rates, not because she got better at selling, but because she got better at hearing what was going on. She stopped trying to be the star. Just ask simple questions again. What prompted you to call? Tell me more. What have you already tried? What have you thought of? All of those are going to get you into that space of hearing if you're willing to listen. When you know, show, and serve, something beautiful happens. The circle completes itself because the moment you truly know someone, you naturally align with them and you realize what's important to them is all that you need to share about what you have or your product. And that's when they end up knowing, liking, and trusting you for the right reasons. Here's your sales pulse challenge for this week. In your next 3 sales, I want you to ask one open-ended question that's not usual for you to ask. And let's see if that gets you somewhere. Then reflect back one sentence that you heard and verify you're on the right track with your buyer. So before you go into automatic responses, give yourself 5 seconds. Breathe, let it out, then respond. Because then the buyer knows you heard them. You didn't walk on the end of their sentence, and you are there present for them and ready to serve. That's how you know, show, and serve, and build trust without chasing it. I'm Marla Koupal with the Sales Pulse podcast. If this episode sparked a shift for you, share it with another small business owner, entrepreneur, solopreneur, business owner, independent salesperson, anyone who really needs to architect conversations that will help them close sales. Remember, sales isn't about being known. It's about knowing the buyer well. Subscribe for more real skills, not safe scripts, and I'll see you next time.